Hey everybody, Juan Ortega here, your business coach, and here is your business tip of the week. So, have you ever attempted to accomplish a goal or do something you've never done before? Maybe complete a big project and have failed? Of course, we all have. And so, what I want to talk to you today about is what we call the failure cycle. And that is the cycle in which, if we fall down that path, we could essentially create failure or not accomplish a certain task, goal, or milestone that we're going after. So let's start off with, as we always do, with excitement. So whenever an idea enters your mind or whenever you write down a goal, there's always some excitement that goes with it, right? That's the thing that kind of gets us going. It's the idea of accomplishing that goal or what will change about me or my life if I were to accomplish that particular task. And so excitement is essentially what gets us going. And then we go from excitement to, well, maybe it's not so important, or, oh gosh, this is a lot harder than I thought, so let me put it off. So this is where procrastination might set in. This is where you start overthinking things. This is where you start delaying it, making excuses in your head in terms of like, maybe not now, but later. So essentially, we call this avoidance, right? This is where the thing does not get done. And then, you build onto the excuses, and eventually you'll make a big enough excuse as to why it wasn't really a good idea to begin with, right? So you might say some things to yourself like, well, that was too far-fetched goal, or that isn't realistic right now, or, no one's really doing that. So, why would I do something like that? Or, too hard, too difficult, I'm too young, too old, now's not the right time, whatever it might be, all sorts of excuses. And then ultimately, by the time you get to that stage, then that's where failure sets in. You basically quit and you don't accomplish whatever you set out to accomplish. So here are a few reasons why that all of this actually happens. Okay, so number one is maybe that goal that you were pursuing, maybe it was the wrong goal. Maybe that goal was too big, and so it was overwhelming, and you should have created kind of a halfway goal, right? That seemed more achievable to you. So maybe the goal was too big, or maybe it was too small. Maybe you looked at it and go, well, the excitement wore off because the more you thought about it, you said, well, that's not really that exciting or challenging to me. So the goal could actually be too big. It could be too small. It could also be something that's not tied into your long-term goals. I know that I've personally experienced some goals that I had in the past, and every time I went to get started on something, I realized this doesn't really tie into something that I want to do long term. And so the reason I kind of put off that particular task or goal was essentially because it wasn't something that was part of my long-term plan. So think about this. If you're experiencing something right now that you've been putting off, you've been procrastinating, then the first question you want to ask yourself, is this the right goal? Is this something that is tied to my long-term plan? Is it essential that I complete this to get to the next thing? Is the goal just right in size, not too big, not too small? So ask yourself these sort of questions to make sure that you don't fall into that failure cycle. The second one is maybe unclear focus. Okay, so maybe you have a goal, but you're not sure. You get caught up in the, well, I'm not sure how I'm going to achieve that goal. Okay, so you get kind of caught up in the don't know the second step, the third step, the fourth step, and so you don't start. So you then avoid and then you create the excuses. Okay, or maybe the goal itself is a little bit unclear. So either the goal is unclear, your focus is not clear, or all the different steps are involved. So just make sure that if you have a goal, if there's something that you want to get done right now, that you have absolute clarity with everything about it. What is the goal? Why do I want to achieve it? What's the first step I need to take? Right? All of those things. We want clarity. Clarity is what will allow you to continue on with that particular goal. The next one is no action plan. It's kind of like People at New Year's Day will make those resolutions of, I want to be happier, I want to lose weight, I want to make more money. But yet that's it. It ends 1 minute later, and there's never any thought put into it. There's never an action plan put into place, especially a written plan. So you need to be clear with the goal, but you need to be just as clear, even more clear as to what the action plan is. How will you actually achieve that goal? What will you do, right? So having a clear written action plan. And then the fourth one is, maybe you have the action plan. Maybe you do go as far as creating the plan, but maybe you don't take any action on it. Okay, so maybe you're looking at yourself and you're thinking, yeah, I have everything in place. I have the right goals. I'm pretty clear as to why this goal exists and what I need to do and what the first step is. I even, wrote down an action plan, but maybe it's just I'm not taking action. I'm not doing anything about it. I'm not pursuing that plan. So what I would say to you about that is just break it down. If you have an action plan, and if it's an annual plan, you may want to break that down into a quarterly plan. You may want to break that down, as we do here at Action Coach, into a weekly plan. And you might want to break that weekly plan down into a daily plan. So what do you need to go and do today? What is the one thing that you can do today that will get you closer to this particular goal that you're thinking about? Then the fifth one, and the last one, and probably the biggest one of all, is mental barriers. Okay, so if you've ever attempted to achieve a goal or get something done or completed and you failed, maybe it's really tied into some mental block, head trash as we call it, some limiting belief. Maybe it ties back into, gosh, well, who am I to make such a lofty plan or goal? Who am I? I don't know anyone who's ever achieved something like this. I'm not, I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm not educated enough, I'm this or that. And so maybe it's just some limiting belief that's holding you back from doing any of this stuff. Maybe it's something tied into your values. If you were brought up thinking that money is the root of all evil, as an example, and you're trying to establish some wealth for you and your family so you can take care of your family, your values might be at conflict with one another. It could also be an identity. If you're trying to accomplish a goal and you look at yourself in the mirror and you go, I don't know if I'm the type of guy or gal to accomplish something this big, then you really got to work on your own personal identity, because your self-worth isn't there. You don't see yourself as being worthy of accomplishing this sort of goal. So there you have it, the five reasons that make up the failure cycle and what the cycle is. Hopefully this will get you unblocked as to anything that you might be procrastinating on right now. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd love to help you push through so you can get some massive results in your business. Thanks for watching the Business Tip of the Week.